one man who knows a thing or two about Tyron Woodley. He actually referred to him in that interview. His name is Rory MacDonald, and on Friday, he finally makes his Bellator debut. Remember, he signed with Bellator last summer, but it's going down this Friday in London against Paul Daley, Wembley Arena. This is a lot of fun. He joins us now via the phone, I do believe, from London. Rory, are you there?
I'm here. Thanks for having me.
It is a pleasure, Rory. Great to talk to you as always. So you're in London right now, right?
That's right.
What's it like? Are you feeling the love? Are people throwing tomatoes at you as you walk on the street? What's going on?
No, I'm going, pretty under the radar, just making my rounds for the media, and it's been good. Today's typical London weather, and yesterday it was nice. So far everything's going smoothly.
Do you feel a buzz for this? I mean, this is a really big deal. In my opinion, maybe the greatest main event that Bellator has ever put on. Does it feel like there's a buzz, or is it a little too soon?
No, absolutely there's a buzz. That's what everybody keeps saying. There's some big hype behind this, and it's just getting more exciting as the week progresses.
What do you think, Rory, when you see, we just had Tyron on. It looks like he may fight Damien. You beat both those guys.
Mm-hmm.
The champion and the number one contender. What does that say to you?
Well, it proves my point that I feel that I'm the best in the world. I just gotta go out there and get it done, and that starts on this Friday.
Yeah, but it's an amazing thing that the guy who beat both of them is fighting in a different in a different organization and not even fighting for their belt. You were higher ranked than Lorenz Larkin, yet he's getting a title shot before you. How did that happen?
I think it was timing, to be honest. I kept trying to get the fight with Lima, but they were saying he's got an injury, he's going to have surgery, it's not going to come around the time you want. But so they offered me the Daley fight, but it's funny because they booked his fight in the exact time frame that I wanted to actually fight. So it's a bit weird. I don't know what happened there. If Lima was trying to get a different fight, or if Bellator wanted to get me, up against Daley because he called me out. I don't know why it worked out the way it did, but in the end, I'm happy with it. This is going to be a big show. This is a great opponent for me, and I'm going to go put on the best performance of my life.
So when you heard that Lima was going to fight Larkin, were you bummed? Was a part in MSG of all places? How did you react to that news?
Well, I had already had my fight with Daley, so I wasn't too concerned, and I knew that fight was going to secure me a spot for the title.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I wasn't stressing too much. I was a bit rolling my eyes, really I got passed up for. Larkin got that over me. It was kind of an eye roll moment, but I mean, in the end, whatever. It's all good. They're fighting for my belt because I'm gonna go take it from them after that.
You had a chance to square off with Paul a few days after we spoke when this fight was announced, and he was talking about looking at you, and he thinks that you're a serial killer or a psycho. What was that like when you guys squared off? What did you see in him?
Oh, I've seen exactly what kind of fighter he is. He's an intense individual, so I can expect an intense fight from him. He's one of those guys that is always in the fight and is always going to be in there trying to knock your head off. So I'm prepared for that.
Did he say anything to you when you guys were next to each other?
No, it was pretty hush-hush.
No talking at all. Paul likes to talk usually. I'm surprised.
Yeah, he's been pretty quiet this time around and somewhat respectful, So I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe he doesn't want to eat his words after this fight. I don't know.
Right. A lot has been made of where you're training for this fight. So can we clear it up? Are you still a part of TriStar?
Yeah, absolutely. Faraz in my corner. We're actually going to go train in the room right after this call. So everything's all good there.
Oh, he's already in London.
He's here with me. But I think people just, when you say something in an interview, they really like to make it their own story rather than, they like to spin it off almost, So to clear the air, I went back I originally started training martial arts and began my career for a big portion of my training camps this time. And, I guess they spun it the way they wanted to and make it look like I had bad blood with TriStar, but I spent a good 3 weeks at TriStar for this training camp as well.
Is this what you'll be doing from here on out? The majority of the camp in British Columbia, but still, have Faraz in your corner and maybe a portion of the camp in Montreal?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I go with the flow, but this training camp went excellent. I was very happy with it. I feel that I'm going to go out there and really show myself to the fans and just be myself out there and have a fun time in the cage. And I think that's what it's all about, and I think everybody will appreciate that.
And so, does that mean you're moving back to British Columbia? Will you not live in Montreal anymore?
No, Montreal's still home.
Okay.
I'll be going back and forth like usual.
Well, I think you made the right choice on that one, as far as your living conditions are concerned.
Yeah, I'm always going to be a little bit biased.
Yes.
I love BC. I love how close nature is to me, and being able to get outside whenever I want. I think that's a lot of fun for me. Being in the big city of Montreal, sometimes it could be a bit of a stretch, having to wait for the weekends to come around to get out.
I've been following, obviously, your social media and seeing some videos about you and interviews and things like that, and I'm trying to sort of gauge, when's the last time there feels like there's a pep in your step. You're excited. You're legitimately excited about this new chapter, fighting for a new promotion and everything that comes with it. Does this kind of feel like, 2010 when you debuted in the UFC? Does it feel like you're kind of a rookie all over again? How would you, or is it a brand new feeling? How would you describe how you feel about this opportunity as you're, preparing, 4 days away?
I've said it in a couple other interviews. I definitely feel that this is like a chapter 3 of my career. It's definitely a new saga. I feel like it's something new, but I definitely don't feel like a rookie. If anything, I feel like I'm very mature and ready for the task at hand. Whereas when I started the UFC, I was very unprepared for what I was getting myself into. Obviously I was an undefeated fighter back then, but on very small shows, a small town kid, not been to many big light scenarios or limelight scenarios. So I was a little overwhelmed then. Now I'm very well prepared for what I'm stepping into and being a big guy in this promotion and being a main event fighter in London and all that. So I'm very happy with where I'm at going into chapter 3, so to speak.
Chael Sonnen equated the experience fighting for Bellator for the first time, like, the first day at school, because it's a different system, different people. You were part of the UFC machine for so long. What's it been like for you? Has it been a little different, just dealing with the whole fight week experience with a brand new promotion?
Honestly, so far it's been pretty good. Like, fight week's been pretty similar, and Bellator has been really great with me. They're very flexible and they work with me, and rather than just pushing me along like, the UFC has to, because they're just such a big machine, like you said. But it's been great. I've had a great time here with Bellator and all the staff and everything.
As your fight approaches, I've been thinking about you a lot lately because over the past few weeks, there have been a lot of fighters who have been talking about their disappointment with the UFC, frustrations and things like that. Have you seen any of this stuff? And does this almost, confirm in your opinion that you made the right choice by leaving the company?
Yeah, absolutely. It seems to have gotten continually worse. Everybody's situation is getting worse there, and increasingly people are getting more and more unhappy. And seeing that there's money to be made, or just the way they're treated in general, they're not content with it. So it's good. There's a competitor in the marketplace, and that's just gonna make everybody get better. And more options for the fighters. Everyone's going to get a little bit more money, and it's going to be better for MMA, the sport in general, I think.
I'm always interested in this day and age what the sponsorship landscape is for a UFC fighter who goes over to Bellator, because you haven't been in that game for a little bit because of Reebok. What's like? Are you going to make more in sponsorship money for this fight than you would have as a UFC fighter?
Actually, I'm making less.
Oh,
but
less.
It's kind of, yeah. It's more because of the way I'm going about it. I mean, I could have easily went out and got plastered sponsors all over my shorts and banner and stuff, and got little sponsors for the fight. But basically, what I'm going out there is for long-term marquee sponsorships that are going to be solid name brands that are going to represent me, and I represent them well, and be a long-term partnership, and give those sponsors big exposure rather than, be clustered and totally packed full of a bunch of different random companies that don't have any connection with me whatsoever. So that's the strategy there.
So will you have any sponsors for this fight?
Yes, I'm sponsored by Monster Energy and Everlast.
And no more Reebok?
The Reebok deal has recently expired, so they were nice enough to continue the sponsorship after I'd signed with Bellator, even though they weren't obligated to. They stuck by my side. We had a great partnership. We had a great deal, and now that it's come to an end, they're unable to re-sign. So because they're with UFC only and fighters only. But it was a great time with them. They treated me great, and I'm very happy with what we did with them.
And is it a significant drop, or do you feel like you made the right, you made these specific choices, but in the end you will, far exceed what you were making in your last UFC fight?
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely very happy with what I'm going to be making for my time in Bellator. Even if my sponsorships are a little bit down, it's not a big deal for me. I mean, I'm looking at a big upside right now, and I'm very happy with it.
Is this your first fight as a father, or were you a dad already when you fought Wonder Boy?
Yeah, first fight as a father.
Wow, and do you feel a difference in your mindset, how you approach what you're doing?
I feel a little bit more relaxed and grateful for this opportunity and everything. I'm feeling very in the zone and just happy to be here and not stressing about every little thing like I was before. And I don't know if that's because I'm a father now, but that's the way I'm feeling. I'm feeling very good about my situation, and everything's just going with the flow, and just I'm feeling very mature for all of my past experiences. Everything's really feeling very settled, and the only difference I may feel as far as being a father is that I miss my baby girl. It sucks being away from her for even just a short period of time.
Do you feel grateful because I'll never forget when you were on the show before the Wonder Boy fight, how frustrated you were and sounded. Did you think that after that fight, if things didn't work out, if there wasn't another option out there for you, that could have been the end of your MMA career? Like you're almost not getting this second chance now, but was there a part of you that thought it might come to an end after this because you were so, disenfranchised with the whole sport?
No, definitely not. I definitely would have, figured out my training situation and got my head around, what had been the big issue with that, my shortcoming and my disappointment with myself in that performance. But, I probably wouldn't be making what I'm making, and I definitely wouldn't. And, I wouldn't be as happy or comfortable with my situation as far as what I'm making and my future and my kids' future and things like that. Now I'm totally happy. I'm comfortable. I know I made the right decision, and things are great. Yeah.
Is there any part of you that feels like, I have to do something really, really special to almost make the Bellator officials feel like, okay, he was worth the investment. He was worth us signing almost a year ago. Like you almost have to prove that, okay, this was the right call. I've talked to Chael about this as well. And, he said that, the ratings and things like that. Yeah, he does think about that. Like you want everything to kind of deliver and to say, look, this is what, this is why you signed me.
Absolutely. I definitely think about it too. And, I want to perform because, it's better for me as well. But I definitely I think my mindset right now and the way I need to be to perform at my best is to go out there and be myself, be true to myself, and just let it fly like I did in training. And the true beauty of my style will really come out, and the fans will really enjoy it. So that's what this whole training time off, or the whole time off in my training has been since my last performance. And we're gonna go out there Friday and just let it all hang out, and it's gonna be a beautiful thing.
Last thing for you, Rory, how is your nose? Do you feel like it's 100%? Are there any concerns about it at all?
No, I really feel like it's behind me. I don't think about it anymore. Going through a training camp like I did, having it tested, and I feel totally secure with it. I'm not too worried about it at all.
Do you feel like it's going to take one punch for you to really not even think about it at all, or is that not even a question in your mind anymore?
No, I plan on, hearing that bell and getting fired up right out of the gate. I'm not looking to get my nose tested or, anything like that. I know I have to something to do out there, and I'm going to go out there and get it done. And I'm not hesitating or worrying about that because I feel totally confident in it.
Thank you, Rory. Appreciate you squeezing us in. Good luck on Friday. And by the way, can you try to convince the people over there in Bellator to show this fight live in the United States and Canada? It's not airing live here. Do you know this?
Yeah, I know. It's on tape delay.
What is up with that? It's crazy.
I know. But, good things come to those who wait.
Okay, well said. Thank you, Rory. Best of luck to you on Friday. Can't wait for it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, there he is. The Red King, Rory MacDonald. It's not live. The best fight in Bellator history, not live. They got to fix this. I know they don't like to do the fights, in the afternoon on a Friday when they're in Europe. I know. But what about showing them twice? What about once in the afternoon and once at night? They do that with the shows in the past. They've done, 9 o'clock in the East and then 9 o'clock in the West. So it's, unless you have DirecTV, for the longest time, it was tape delayed there as well. I just can't believe that a fight of this magnitude, a fight this great, I mean, there have been others, Eddie Alvarez versus Michael Chandler was great, but Paul Daley versus Rory MacDonald, the debut of Rory MacDonald is not going to air live? How does this make sense? This is 2017, my friends. What else is airing? I'd love to know what's and they'll tell you that, hey, look, we'll get better ratings at night. They'll say that. And they're going to write to me, I know it, and they're going to give me all the numbers. But typically, the fights that they've aired live in the afternoon haven't been the greatest of cards. You can't compare a card of that caliber airing in the afternoon to one of your tentpole, primetime events with the biggest names possible. I mean, it's not a fair comparison. Put a card with a main event like this of this magnitude in the afternoon, and then let's compare it. Now let's see who watches what. I just feel like sports has to be live in 2017. It really does. It's the only thing that you can't watch taped. If I miss a sporting event live, I'll tape it and I'll attempt to rewatch it later, but I just want to fast forward, or I just want to know what happened. What if something crazy happens? I want to know when it happens in real time. That's how I like to follow my sports. So can we fix this, Bellator? Especially for a fight of this magnitude. We're 4 days away. Let's try to get it done. By the way, the card took a bit of a hit, and it ends up being a blessing in disguise for the Bellator officials, because I thought originally what they should have done was MVP versus Paul Daley and Rory for the title shot against Douglas Lima. But then we come to find out MVP is out of his fight against Derek Anderson. So he was supposed to fight in the co-main event, and that's a blow because obviously they're trying to build him up, not only in Bellator in general, but in that market. Eventually have him fight Paul Daley, maybe even after this fight. If Paul would have lost, it would have made sense because Scott Coker said last week that the winner of this fight between Paul Daley and Rory MacDonald is going to fight for the welterweight title against the winner of Douglas Lima and Lorenz Larkin. That takes place June 24th in New York City at MSG on the pay-per-view card. So it's a bit of a blow. I heard it's a knee injury and that he might, they're not quite sure just yet, but that he might be out for a little bit. So that sucks for MVP. But it ends up being a blessing because could you imagine if they would have done Paul Daley versus MVP and then he pulls out? That would have been a nightmare. So it's taking place this Friday, Wembley Arena in London. Big show. They also recently added Kimbo Slice Jr. to that card, and that's an important one for Kimbo because is it Kimbo? No, I always call him Kimbo Slice Jr. It's actually Kevin Ferguson Jr. Baby Slice is his official name. The son, of course, of the late Kimbo Slice, who actually passed away almost exactly 1 year ago. It was early June, right after UFC 199. I'll never forget it, when he tragically passed away. So he has been added to the card, and that's taking place this Friday in London, England.